In the year 3078, Earth had changed. The sky was no longer blue, and the cities were surrounded by giant junkyards. Massive fields filled with broken machines, old spaceships, and alien trash. Earth had become the galaxy's dumping ground. Max lived in Junk Zone 47, one of the largest scrap fields in the northern zone. He was only 19, skinny but smart, and worked as a scavenger. Every day, Max searched the metal mountains for anything valuable, old parts, batteries, tools. He sold them in the black market to survive. One evening, the sky above the junkyard turned red. A strange light flickered in the clouds. Max looked up and saw something falling fast. It wasn't a meteor. It was a capsule, metallic, round, and glowing blue. Boom! The ground shook as the capsule crashed into the far corner of the junkyard. Max's heart raced. "That's not normal trash," he whispered to himself. Grabbing his scanner and flashlight, he ran toward the crash site. The air smelled like burned metal. Sparks flew from broken wires as he climbed over piles of scrap. When he reached the crash site, he stopped. His eyes widened. The capsule was half buried in the ground, steaming. It was about the size of a small car, with strange alien symbols glowing faintly on its surface. It looked old, damaged, but not dead. He slowly walked closer. The scanner beeped fast. "Life form detected," it said. Max froze. "Wait. What?" He placed his hand on the side of the capsule. Felt warm. There was a small window on one side, covered in dust and cracks. Max wiped it with his sleeve and looked inside. The spaceship Aurora floated silently through the endless dark of space. Inside was a girl. Inside, Captain John Miller was alone. Her skin was pale blue and pressed a few buttons. Her hair white like snow. The lights blinked softly. She wore a silver suit. Everything seemed normal, and she wasn't moving. John heard a noise. But suddenly, it was very fingers soft, twitched, almost like a whisper. Her eyes opened, glowing soft purple. Was it just his imagination? But the girl didn't move again. There it was, a small sound coming from the storage room. He knew he couldn't leave her there. His heart beating a little faster, and they wouldn't. No one else was supposed to be on the ship. Max picked up his flashlight and quietly walked down the metal hallway. The storage room door was closed. The girl gasped. John paused outside and listened. Her eyes slowly turned toward him, and the door slid open. "Let them find me." Inside, the boxes and crates were stacked neatly. Then she fainted as he had left them. Max didn't understand. Then he saw it movement. Who was she? In the shadows. Why was she in a capsule? He pointed his flashlight. And who were they? The beam lifted her carefully in his hand. She was light, almost too light. He saw nothing but as he carried her back to his workshop. He looked around. As his eyes adjusted, the junkyard was quiet. A girl. But she was crouched behind a crate, hugging her knees. He reached his small shelter. Her hair was long and silver under a broken cargo ship, falling across her face. He placed the girl on a makeshift bed. Her skin was pale and checked her condition, almost glowing in the darkness. No wounds. She looked up at John, her eyes wide with fear. Suddenly, she was not human. He heard a beep from his scanner. John stepped back, incoming signal detected. He had seen many alien species lost cargo, but never one like this. The girl's eyes shone bright green. Locked. Max's fear and something else. Someone was looking for her. "Please don't hurt me." He turned off the scanner quickly and sat beside the capsule. Her voice trembled. He noticed a small metal cornered animal, ready to run. Discarded unit. John put his hands up, showing he had no experimental. "It's okay." "Discarded," he said softly. Max whispered. "I won't hurt you." They threw her away. "Who are you? Like garbage?" The girl did not answer. But she didn't look dangerous. She watched him closely. She looked scared, as if waiting for a trick or a trap. Suddenly, John's sirens began to echo in the distance. "I'm Captain John Miller, alarmed. This is my ship. Red lights flashed in the sky." He spoke slowly, trying to make his voice gentle. The girl still did not move. "They're looking for her." She was shaking. The girl stirred in her sleep. John saw she wore a thin dress. Her hand twitched torn and dirty. The lights around her body glowed brighter, and one of her stared in shock as his metal tools on the table began to float. He looked for something to show kindness. "She's not normal." He reached into a box and found a small blanket. But she's not a mistake either. The girl flinched. Outside, the ship slowly picked it up and wrapped it around herself. The alien girl began to whisper a few meters away. He did not move closer. "Home. Are you hurt?" Max took a deep breath. "Or water?" He had a choice. The girl nodded, but still said save himself. John stood up and went to the small kitchen. From a world he brought back a bottle of water and a protein bar. He looked at her one more time. He placed them on the floor. "I don't know who you are," stepped away. He said quietly. The girl waited until he was far. "But I think you deserve a second chance." Then quickly grabbed the food and water. As he locked the workshop doors, she ate hungrily, her hands shaking. Max knew this was just the beginning. Quietly. Something big had landed in Junk Zone 47. He remembered stories about some aliens who was already on its way, especially human men. Maybe she was one of them. After a while, the girl looked at John with tired eyes. She spoke in a very soft voice. "My name is Lyra." John smiled gently. "Hello, Lyra. You're safe now." Lyra shook her head. "No one is safe. They are coming for me." John felt a chill run down his back. "Who is coming?" She looked away. "The hunters. They want me because I saw something I should not have seen. My people always said, never trust human men. They are cruel. They hurt people like us. But you have not hurt me." John nodded. "Not all humans are cruel, Lyra. I just want to help." Lyra looked at him, as if she was trying to believe his words, but fear was still in her eyes. "If they find me here, they will hurt you too." John's jaw tightened. He was a soldier once, but now he just wanted peace. He could not leave someone in trouble. "Let me hide you. We can think of a plan together." Suddenly, lights flashed on the control panel in the next room. A ship was approaching fast. John stood up. "Stay here. Don't make a sound," he whispered. Lyra nodded, pulling the blanket tighter around her small body. John closed the door and hurried to the cockpit. He checked the scanner. An unknown ship was coming. It sent a message, "Prepare for boarding. We are searching for a fugitive." John's mind raced. Was it the hunters Lyra spoke of? He had to protect her. He had to think fast. As the enemy ship got closer, Lyra sat alone in the dark storage room. She listened to the strange noises of the ship and hugged her knees, hoping, for the first time in her life, that a human would keep his promise. A deep alarm sounded on the Aurora, sharp and cold, echoing down the metal corridors. Red lights blinked across every panel. Captain John felt the whole ship tense up, like it could sense trouble. John's mind raced. He remembered Lyra, alone in the storage room, scared and hiding. He couldn't let them find her. He moved quickly, sealing the storage room's door with a secret code only he knew. He spoke into the tiny speaker inside the room. "Lyra, don't make a sound. No matter what happens. Trust me." Outside, a new voice crackled over the ship's radio, slow and unfriendly. "This is Security Ship Delta 4. Prepare for inspection. Open all doors now." John tried to sound calm. "Understood. Opening now." But he didn't. Instead, he worked fast, opening only the main corridors, locking all others. He switched off security cameras near the storage room, hoping it would be enough. In the dark storage room, Lyra's heart pounded. Her whole life, she had been told stories about humans, how they captured and hurt anyone different. She pressed her back against the wall and closed her eyes, repeating the words her mother once said. "If they find you, hide. If you can't hide, don't breathe. Never trust a human." But John's gentle eyes came to her mind. Was he really different? The door to the Aurora hissed open. Two men in heavy armor stepped inside, their faces hidden behind masks. John greeted them with a steady voice, but his hands were shaking. "Can I help you, officers?" The taller guard stared at him. "We are looking for an alien fugitive. Last seen near this sector. All ships are to be searched." John tried to act innocent. "No stowaways here, but feel free to look." His heart was thumping. What if they had scanners? What if they found Lyra? One guard wandered off toward the storage bay. John hurried after him, talking fast to distract him. "Can I get you some water? It's a long trip out here." But the guard ignored him, walking closer and closer to Lyra's hiding place. Inside the storage room, Lyra heard boots on metal. They were coming. She curled tighter under a blanket, hardly breathing. The guard scanned the door. "This room is locked." "Why?" John forced a laugh. "That's the cleaning supply closet. Been broken for months. Smells terrible in there." The guard frowned. He lifted a scanner to the door. Lyra felt every second stretch out forever. Suddenly, a crash sounded from the engine room. The other guard's voice barked through his helmet. "Something's wrong here." Both guards turned and ran toward the engine. John let out a slow breath. He had programmed the engine to fake a meltdown, just a few sparks and smoke. It was risky, but it worked. The guards were busy for 10 long minutes, searching for a problem that did not exist. John hurried back to the storage room. He typed his code, slipped inside, and found Lyra shaking, her face wet with silent tears. He knelt beside her, voice soft. "It's okay. You're safe. They didn't find you." Lyra wiped her eyes. "Why do you help me? Why do you risk yourself?" John thought for a long moment. "Because it's the right thing to do. Not everyone is like the stories you've heard." Lyra looked at him, searching his face. For the first time, she wanted to believe him. But outside, the guards finished their search. As they left, one paused and looked back. "We'll be watching this ship. If we find out you're hiding something, Captain, there will be trouble." The door closed, and silence returned to the Aurora. John looked at Lyra. "We have to move. They'll come back. But I promise, I will keep you safe." Lyra nodded. She believed him. For the first time in her life, she began to hope. But danger was still out there, closer than ever. The next morning, the Aurora floated through space, cold and quiet. John watched stars drift by from the cockpit, but his mind was not at peace. Lyra was still hiding in the dark room below, and danger still hung over them both. A sudden alarm broke the silence. A small ship was approaching, moving fast, too fast for a normal traveler. John pressed buttons, zooming in on the screen. The new ship was black with sharp red markings. The shape was not friendly. John had seen many ships in his life, but this one looked like a weapon. A message flashed on the screen. "Permission to dock. Urgent business." John swallowed. He could feel it in his bones. This was not routine security. This was something else. He opened the comms. "This is Captain John Miller of the Aurora. Please state your reason for boarding." A cold voice answered, deep and smooth, almost like a machine. "I am Cade, Bounty Division. I track what others cannot. You have something I want." John hid his worry. "You must be mistaken. This is just a cargo ship." But the black ship docked without waiting. John hurried to the airlock. The doors slid open with a heavy hiss. There stood the hunter. He was tall, dressed in a black suit with red armor plates on his chest and arms. His helmet hid his face, and strange symbols glowed on his gloves. Around his neck hung a silver coin, not money, but a sign of his rank. His boots echoed on the floor as he stepped inside. He carried no visible weapon, but John knew this was a man who did not need one. Cade looked around, calm but dangerous. "You have had visitors," he said quietly, scanning the ship's halls. "I can smell fear." John tried to act normal, but his hands were tight. "Just me here. I travel alone." The hunter's helmet tilted. "Every lie has a shadow, Captain. I will find it." John led Cade through the ship, pretending everything was normal. But the hunter's eyes, behind that cold black helmet, seemed to see through every wall. Meanwhile, Lyra listened from her hiding place. Her whole body trembled. She heard boots getting closer, the sound of death walking the ship. Cade was known across many planets, the man who never failed, the man who could hunt anyone. Suddenly, Cade stopped in the hallway. He touched the wall. "Did you hear that?" he asked softly. John tried to sound bored. "Probably just the engine. This old ship makes all kinds of noises." Cade looked straight at him, and even though John could not see his eyes, he felt a chill. "Some things," the hunter said, "cannot be hidden for long." John forced a smile. "Would you like a cup of coffee? It's the best thing on this ship." Cade's lips curved, almost a smile. "Perhaps later." He moved on, scanning every room with a strange device. When he reached the locked storage room, John's heart pounded. "Locked?" Cade asked. "Cleaning supplies." John lied again. "Broken door." The hunter held up his scanner. It beeped slowly at first, then faster. John tried to distract him. "I'll get the tools, can fix it right now." But Cade ignored him. He stood silent, listening. Then, after a long, tense moment, he stepped back. "I will return," he said quietly. "If you are hiding her, Captain, you will wish you had never lied." Without another word, Cade walked back to his ship and left the Aurora. But John knew this was not the end. The hunter always came back. John rushed to Lyra. She was pale and shaking. "He was here," she whispered. "He will not stop. He always finds what he wants." John put a hand on her shoulder. "Then we'll have to be smarter than him," he said. "I won't let him take you. I promise." But as the black ship faded into space, John felt the first seeds of doubt. Cade had seen too much. Time was running out, and somewhere, in the darkness, the hunter was already making his plan. The Aurora was silent. Only the low hum of the engines filled the air. John sat in the small medical bay, cleaning a scratch on his arm. But his mind was somewhere else. He kept thinking of Lyra's frightened face and the hunter's promise. Down below, Lyra lay on a narrow bunk in the shadows, the blanket pulled tight around her. For the first time in days, she let herself rest. But her dreams were dark, full of running, hiding, and the face of the hunter with cold, empty eyes. Suddenly, Lyra awoke with a gasp. Her head felt hot. The room spun around her. She tried to sit up, but her body was weak. She called softly, "John?" John heard her and ran to her side. He found Lyra shaking, her skin cold, sweat on her forehead. "What's wrong?" he asked, worry clear in his voice. Lyra closed her eyes, struggling to speak. "It's the sickness. My people, we get sick if we stay too long away from our home planet. There's only one medicine. It's rare, only found on human colonies." John's mind raced. He did not want to leave the ship. The hunter could return at any moment. But if he did nothing, Lyra might die. He sat beside her and spoke softly. "Tell me, Lyra, why were you really running? What did you see?" Lyra looked up at him, fear and pain in her eyes. Her voice shook as she began her story. "On my planet, humans came as visitors. At first, they brought gifts and smiles. But one night, I saw something. The men in black suits, they took my brother and others. They said we were too weak to protect ourselves. They wanted to rule us. When I tried to run, my mother hid me. She said, 'Don't trust them. They only show kindness to hide their true faces.' After that, I was always running. The hunters were sent to bring me back, or to keep me silent forever." John listened quietly. He felt a pain in his chest for Lyra and for what some humans had done. "Not all humans are like that," he said softly. "I'm not." Lyra stared at him, searching for any sign of a lie. "Why do you care about me, John? Your people. They would call me an enemy." John shook his head. "Everyone deserves to be safe. No one should have to live in fear." Lyra closed her eyes, letting his words settle in her mind. For the first time, she wanted to believe in kindness. But her body was growing weaker. Suddenly, alarms flashed across the ship screens. John rushed to the cockpit. An urgent message blinked. "Warning. Ship detected. Cade is returning." John's heart sank. He ran back to Lyra. "We're out of time. I have to find the medicine. There's a trading post on the planet below. If I go, the hunter might get on board. If I stay, you—" He couldn't finish the sentence. Lyra grabbed his hand, her voice shaking but strong. "You must go. I can hide. If you come back, maybe I'll still be here." John nodded. He squeezed her hand gently, as if to say, "You are not alone." He hurried to prepare a small shuttle for the planet. As the engines started, Lyra curled up in her blanket, cold and scared. She watched the stars through a small window, wondering if this was her last night. Outside, in the darkness of space, the hunter's black ship was coming closer. A shadow, hungry and patient. John left the Aurora, flying down to the unknown world below, hoping he could save Lyra before the hunter found her. But as he disappeared into the clouds, Lyra heard a new sound, soft footsteps in the hallway. She was not alone anymore. Outside the ship, cold blue clouds swirled over the planet below. John's shuttle dropped through the clouds, engines screaming. His heart pounded with every mile. He had to find the rare medicine, and fast, before Lyra's sickness took her life. But back on the Aurora, Lyra was not alone. She tried to stand, feeling dizzy. Her vision blurred, but she heard boots on the floor, heavy, slow, moving closer. She pressed herself against the wall, trying not to breathe. The airlock hissed. The hunter was back. Cade stepped onto the ship like a shadow made of metal and secrets. He moved through the halls without hurry, scanning the rooms one by one. He had waited long enough. He could feel fear inside these walls. He knew someone was hiding. Lyra's hands shook as she reached for a small tool John had left behind. A metal rod. It was heavy in her hand, but she gripped it tight. Meanwhile, John landed his shuttle at the trading post. The place was full of rough people. Traders, smugglers, and robots. He rushed to a tiny shop and showed the shopkeeper a picture of the rare medicine. "Please, my friend needs this. I'll pay anything." The shopkeeper looked at him, eyes cold. "It's not cheap. Why should I trust you?" John thought of Lyra, alone and scared, counting every second. "Because if you don't, someone innocent will die. Please." Back on the ship, Cade stopped outside the medical bay. He tapped his helmet, scanning for life signs. He smiled. There, behind the wall, someone was alive. He punched in a code. The door slid open. Lyra forced herself to stand. Her legs were weak, but she faced Cade with the metal rod raised. Cade stepped inside, calm and confident. "You cannot run forever, Lyra. Your fear is louder than your heartbeat." Lyra's voice shook, but she stood her ground. "I am not afraid of you. Not anymore." Cade laughed softly. "You should be. I always get what I want." He reached out, but Lyra swung the rod, hitting his arm. Sparks flew. For a second, Cade stepped back, surprised. At the same time, in the market, John argued with the shopkeeper. "I'll trade my whole ship if I have to." The shopkeeper shrugged and handed over a small silver vial. "Don't get yourself killed, Captain." John grabbed the medicine and ran. Back on the ship, Cade moved fast. He caught Lyra's arm and twisted the rod from her hand. She fell to her knees out of strength. But Cade paused. "You are brave. More than most." Lyra glared at him. "You will never win. John will come back. He's not like the others." Cade shook his head. "He's human. They all become monsters in the end." Suddenly, the ship shook. A warning alarm. John's shuttle was docking. Cade looked at Lyra. "If you try to run again, I will not be gentle." He melted into the shadows, disappearing down the hallway just as John rushed aboard, the medicine in his hand. John ran to the medical bay and found Lyra on the floor, weak but alive. Her eyes filled with tears when she saw him. "You came back," she whispered. "Always," John said, kneeling beside her. He gave her the medicine, and Lyra swallowed it, her body shaking. Slowly, the color returned to her face. John looked around, eyes sharp. "He was here, wasn't he?" Lyra nodded. "He said you would turn on me, like all humans." John shook his head. "I'm not like them, I promise." Outside, Cade watched through the ship's window, his eyes cold. He had seen Lyra's courage and John's loyalty. He knew he would have to try something different. Inside the ship, as Lyra's breathing calmed, John whispered, "We can't run forever. We need a plan." Lyra squeezed his hand. "We have each other. That's enough." But they both knew the real escape had not even begun. The ship Aurora drifted through the dark, quiet stars. Inside, John worked quickly, repairing the damaged engine with Lyra's help. Every sound felt too loud. Every minute, they expected the hunter to return. John handed Lyra a tool. "You sure you're strong enough?" Lyra smiled, a little braver than before. "I'm stronger than I look. You taught me that." John smiled back, but his eyes were worried. He knew Cade was still out there, waiting for his moment. Suddenly, the lights flickered. An alarm blared. Cade's ship was back, right outside. A voice echoed through the Aurora's speakers. "John Miller, Lyra, surrender, or I destroy the ship." John and Lyra looked at each other. There was no place left to hide. But this time, they would not run. John spoke into the ship's radio. "If you want us, come and get us. But you'll have to fight." The airlock opened with a heavy hiss. Cade stepped aboard, silent and powerful. His helmet glowed with red lights. But something was different. This time, he carried a strange device, crackling with blue energy. Cade walked through the ship, every step slow and certain. You disappoint me, Captain. You could have lived. John and Lyra waited for him in the engine room. The lights were dim, shadows everywhere. John whispered, "Stick to the plan. No matter what happens, trust me." Cade entered, his weapon aimed at John. "Move aside. The girl comes with me." John raised his hands. "No. If you want her, you have to go through me." Lyra stepped forward, trembling, but brave. "I'm not afraid of you anymore, Cade. I know what you are." Cade laughed, a cold, broken sound. "You know nothing. Humans always betray. Always." John nodded at Lyra. Quietly, she pressed a button behind her. Suddenly, heavy doors slammed shut, trapping Cade inside the engine room. Cade spun around, surprised for the first time. "What have you done?" John faced him. "We don't want to fight, but you leave us no choice." The room filled with smoke from the engine's exhaust. Cade coughed, his mask hissing. He tried to break the doors, but Lyra activated the ship's magnet system. Cade's metal suit stuck to the wall, pinning him. Cade struggled, fury in his voice. "You think you've won? The galaxy is full of hunters like me." John shook his head. "Not everyone has to be a hunter. Some people help. Some people change." Lyra looked at Cade, her fear replaced by pity. "You could have been better, but you chose hate." For a moment, Cade's eyes softened behind his helmet. But then the anger returned. "You will never be safe." John pressed the button to open the airlock. The outside door slid open, sucking the smoke out, but Cade's heavy armor kept him inside. John and Lyra escaped through a side hatch, leaving Cade trapped as the doors slammed shut. They ran to the cockpit, Lyra's hand in John's. Together, they sent a message to the nearest patrol. "Dangerous bounty hunter on board. Need rescue." As the patrol ships closed in, John looked at Lyra. "You did it. You saved us." Lyra's eyes were bright. "No, we saved each other." Outside, Cade's ship powered down, surrounded by police. The hunter was finally caught. But as the Aurora floated free, Lyra looked out the window, thinking. She had a choice now, to disappear or to trust in a new life. John squeezed her hand gently. "Whatever you choose, I'll be with you." And for the first time, Lyra felt truly free. The Aurora floated quietly above a blue and green world, safe at last. The danger was gone. Patrol ships had taken the hunter away, and for the first time in days, peace filled the halls. Lyra stood by the wide window in the control room, watching clouds drift over the new planet. Sunlight touched her face, warm and gentle. Her skin had color again, her eyes brighter than ever. John joined her, 2 cups of hot tea in his hands. He handed one to Lyra. "We made it," he said, a soft smile on his face. Lyra held the cup, letting the warmth sink into her hands. "I didn't think I would ever see a place like this," she whispered. "Somewhere safe." John sat beside her. "You're safe now. No more hiding." But Lyra looked down, worry in her eyes. "Where will I go now? If I land on this planet, I'll always be different. People might be afraid. They might never trust me." John nodded, understanding. "You could stay with me, travel the stars, or start fresh here if you want. Whatever you choose, you're not alone anymore." Lyra stared out the window. She saw a family walking near a river, children laughing, chasing each other. It was simple but beautiful. Her heart ached for a life she'd never known. Suddenly, a soft beep sounded from the control panel. A message arrived, her people, the first she'd heard in months. The message read, "Lyra, if you are alive, come home. We need you. You are not forgotten." Tears filled Lyra's eyes. She had a choice. Return to her world, bring them hope, or stay with John and discover a new life. John saw the message. He looked at Lyra gently. "Sometimes, going home is the bravest thing you can do." Lyra smiled, wiping her tears. "Will you help me? Will you come with me?" John nodded. "Anywhere." As the Aurora changed course, flying toward Lyra's old world, Lyra felt her fear finally fade. She was not running anymore. She was going home with someone who believed in her. But as they traveled, John handed Lyra a small gift, a metal star shaped from a part of the ship. "For luck," he said. "And for new beginnings." Lyra held the star tightly. For the first time, she felt hope burning bright inside her. A hope for friendship, for trust, for a future. As the ship sped through the stars, Lyra looked at John. "Thank you for teaching me that not all humans are monsters," she said softly. "Some are heroes." John laughed, shaking his head. "I'm no hero, Lyra, but I am your friend." Outside, the galaxy waited, a place full of danger and wonder, but also full of second chances. And as the Aurora sailed toward a new beginning, Lyra whispered, "I'm not afraid anymore." As the credits roll, or video ends, the screen flashes a secret message. Transmission intercepted. Unknown observer detected. A shadowy figure smiles in the darkness, saying, "The girl is braver than we thought. This is only the beginning."